All right, we'll call the meeting to order. And Chanel, would you please do a roll call?
Caldwell,
Yes.
Jennings,
Here.
Lamb,
Here.
Lawson,
Here.
Maxwell,
Here.
McCann,
Here.
McKnight,
Here.
Priest, and Profit.
Here. Okay. We do have one change to the agenda. Item number 4, Appleseed's master plan presentation will be in May. So next we have consideration of the March 7th meeting minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look at those? Any discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve those as they are.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. So we're skipping to number 5, which is the Braden Park improvements presentation by Danny Dingman.
Yeah, yes. Ken may be giving that presentation.
Ken?
to Mr.
Okay.
Priest. He should do that.
Oh.
Go on and move.
You want to do number? You want to move on and do number 6 first?
They're here.
Okay. All right, so we'll move on to item number 6, Lake Wilson Trail Improvements Eagle Scout Project. Come on up.
Y'all like to do big screen?
Yes.
Looked really good at the baseball game on it.
Basketball game. There may be a time when it comes to that.
Not liking us today.
Quit pushing buttons for a minute and see if it catch up with us here. Maybe I should close it down.
Network, oh, it's thinking.
Well, this thing whenever I try to put it on full screen.
I would click enable and then just say okay.
What you're seeing on here isn't showing up on our screen
Oh.
right here.
Oh, nice.
Can you, oh.
That's what I do too. I just push buttons till something works.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
sorry, y'all.
You want to go back to the?
do you need the TV for your proposal?
I mean, do you guys need to see the PowerPoint? I also have a printed copy of the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Read it from you, whatever works.
You don't happen to have a problem with you? Oh, you did
Yeah,
there?
it's on there.
Yeah. Oh.
All right. Okay.
Copy it directly?
All right. I don't think it seems like it's the connection between here and
Oh.
TV that's the problem.
Oh, really?
Is it plugged in well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Maybe if I try both. Hello, computer.
like the big screen.
Let's be truthful, y'all.
I don't know if we're gonna do this, but my item doesn't require PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
make some movement.
Let's, well,
Whatever.
Started it.
that, so you have information that's not in our packet? It's a separate PowerPoint?
Yes, this is a separate PowerPoint.
Okay. Let's give them a minute.
Okay.
We've got another agenda item we can cover without the TV.
Right.
So let's do that, and then hopefully, when we get done with that, they'll have this figured out.
Okay.
You okay with that? Okay.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
All right, so now we're on item number 7.
Yes.
Parkland dedication ordinance update.
Yes.
Okay.
So, the parkland dedication ordinance requires us every 2 years to take a look at the amount that we have assigned for, land, average cost per acre of land. And some years back, I think the Parks Board asked us to actually look at that every year. So we review it every year. And what we do is we connect with the Washington County Assessor's Office and ask them to give us that value, because they track all the land sales. And so they look at all of the land sales within the city limits that are residential, whether they're in a subdivision or they're in an outlot, and then they give us the average number. And so this year, the averages for the outlots, which are just basically vacant, undeveloped land, it's not necessarily been subdivided already and have streets and infrastructure and that sort of thing. That amount was about 44,000, and $44,000 dollars per acre. And the other,
44 per
yeah,
acre. That's what they're
oh,
selling for?
That's what average cost per acre. It's not saying that that's what a lot sells for, but that's the average cost per acre of all the land that was sold.
In 2015.
So the vacant lots within a subdivision, the average is 31,900. So our 40,000 is still kind of right there in that range, so we're not really recommending to update that this year, because we feel like it's still an appropriate number. So that's kind of where we're at. And what that number, it plugs into our overall formula where we calculate either fees, if you guys vote for fees and lieu, or land. So that's how that number plugs into our equation.
Okay.
So that acre is completely raw land, no infrastructure whatsoever, is that what we're saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the infrastructure build out is what increases
It
true
can.
lot value to 100.
Mhm. And this is, we kind of revised this process, gosh, it's probably been 10 years ago now, but how we got that number, and we looked at several different ways to do that, but it was determined through the board, actually, that consulting the Washington County Assessor was actually the best way to do that, because they track all those numbers.
We used to go to real estate companies and try to
Try to do it.
Yeah, but we feel like this is the actual, what things are actually selling for, and it's best for them to give us those numbers than us trying to figure it out, so.
And that's not their assessment value, but
What the
true
sale-
value,
True
true
value.
sell value. Okay.
Which is the best assessed value that you can get, actually, so.
All right, so that's really just an update. You're not proposing that we change anything?
We're proposing that it just stay the same at 40,000 per acre
Okay.
this year, and then we'll look at it again next year.
Okay.
But we would like a motion from you.
Okay.
From the board, if you got what your motion is on this proposal to you. If you recommend keeping the fees the same, or that value the same at 40,000, or if you propose to change it.
Okay.
So we'll just have that down on record.
I make a motion that we keep the values the same in the formula.
I'll second it. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right, thanks, Allison.
Sure.
So we're back.
Wow, good
Let's
job.
let's go back to item number 6, the Lake Wilson Trail Improvements Eagle Scout Project. And what is your name, sir? Andrew?
My name is Andrew Crippen. I am a Life Scout with Troop 102, and I am currently 16 years old, and I'm currently a junior at Fayetteville High School. So my Eagle project is a trail addition around Lake Wilson, and there's currently a washout that goes down a hill towards the spillway that is being used as a trail, and it's an unsustainable trail route, and so it needs to be covered up and routed around, and so that's what I would do for this project. This trail addition will follow IMBA basic trail building guidelines, and the washout will need to be covered up, and the trail will need to be rerouted. So the red is the existing washout, the blue is the general route the new trail will take, and then the green lines are the pre-existing trail that's already there that the new trail will connect. So I will be recruiting volunteers from my troop and from other troops in the area. I expect to have around 20 scouts, and we'll have a couple of teams doing different things with the more experienced scouts as team leaders, and adults will be supervising throughout the entire project. And in every scouting event, adult leaders follow 2 deep leadership guidelines, and that will be the case here. There are some places in the pre-existing trail where the trail needs to be armored to keep the trail from being too muddy. We will need city gravel to do this. We anticipate a need of less than 3 cubic yards of gravel. Basic tools like shovels, rakes, and hoes will be brought by the volunteers, and then the troop has some axes and saws, and then the volunteers can bring more. But the more unusual tools like mattocks, plaskies, and the clouds will need to be provided by the city. We expect to start in mid-April and hopefully be finished by mid-May. We anticipate 3 half-day work sessions on weekends, and if we feel that we need additional work days, then I will take out a small group of older scouts and get the work done on a weekday. Any questions?
What kind of trees? I'm always concerned about trying to maintain some of the flowering trees like redbuds, dogwoods, wild plum. Have you identified any trees in this area that would fit in those categories?
Most of the trees that are in the way of the trail are cedar trees, and they're small, brushy cedar trees. When Mr. Ken and I went out to flag the trail, we avoided running directly into too many trees.
Okay. And how would the trail that you're talking about, scuttling, whatever, how would you go about doing that?
So we would take some of the brush from the trail that we clear and move it, and then you were talking about blazing the trail afterwards to define the trail as the new trail.
Okay. I've got this was sent to me 2 days ago, a link to the the Forest Service, and they've got about 4 or 5 different guides on trail building, everything from mountain bikes to sustainable bridges, all this. And afterwards, I'll get if you can give me your email, I'll forward that to you. You can order all these guides for free.
All right.
And it's a wonderful resource. I think you'll find it helpful.
And you do have the trail maintenance
Yes.
instruction from the Forest Service?
You got that? The main yeah, okay. But you mentioned the NIMBA, the National Mountain Biking. This has a thing in there too on the mountain biking. But
Okay.
you may have already seen that, but I'll
Right.
show it to you.
Dwayne?
Wait, and young ladies, does the city have these plastics and so forth that he's talking about?
No, we have Maddox. I have one Pulaski and one McLeod that I would make available, and I thought I would search for some additional as needed.
Okay, if there's a couple of additional tools you need, Ozark Island Trail Association does have them. We could provide them. Provided we get them back clean, sharp, and...
And the handle's not broken out of them. Because I'm needing them soon too.
The biggest thing is to get them back.
As does the ORC. Did you help flag the trail again?
Andrew flagged it initially, and then I went out and walked it with him. It's a pretty good route. I have some concern about the lower end of it. I did tell Andrew that I wanted to get out and look at some additional routes beforehand. I have not been able to scout that yet.
Just from the alignment that I saw, it looks like, if you show that again, initially it's pretty much the same alignment as the other trail, with just a little bit off grade from.
There are actually some gentler grades
Right.
in this newer location.
You mentioned about putting gravel in. What type of gravel? I mean, you looking at white crushed limestone, or
SB2.
something sturdier?
Probably something sturdier.
Do we know what the city has available?
We would have to purchase it, so we could get whatever we need.
I mean, really, at putting gravel in is a raised trail tread and not armoring. Armoring is just boulders and not. So, I mean, at that point, you got to do something in order to sustain the outside of the trail tread, and then fill it.
So really what he's talking about is the section of trail that parallels the spillway has just got some low spots and doesn't shed water very well.
Right.
So rather than coming up with a causeway and really some difficult construction there, really just be spreading some additional gravel in the muddy areas. You mentioned 3 cubic yards?
Yeah.
That's probably more than you would need.
Okay.
Yeah, you could probably accomplish that with 1 yard frontage.
Ready?
I didn't know you were there, Dwayne. That was the information you just sent me that I offered to him.
While we're on the subject of that Lake Wilson Trail, that was an Ozark Society project from somewhere in the 90s when Mayor Hanna was the mayor, and I've got a lot of my blood and tears in that trail. And not as the designer, but as one of the Pulaski muscles that made it happen. And I would like for this board to consider thinking hard about getting a bridge across the spillway. A bridge that would be clear of high water and safe would be a great addition, so that the trail could circle the lake instead of being a lollipop as it was originally had to be done. Some of you may know this, but that spillway was truly dangerous until it was about 8 or 9 years ago, I guess it was now. One of the aldermen took it upon herself to champion getting that spillway fixed, and it's beautiful. It's stayed in good condition. Now it's ready for a bridge. So please put that on your agenda and start thinking about it. I think we'd all like to see that.
What's the span there, Ken?
Clear span would be probably 30, 35 feet, give or take a little.
And RTP grant time is here.
All right. Well, Andrew, thank you for your proposal. Does anybody else have any questions for Andrew?
Make a motion, we accept it as proposed.
Second? No, JL needs to do one.
I saw it out of his mouth. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? All right. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Did a good job. Okay. Now do we want to does it make sense to go to item number 5 now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Item number 5, Braden Park improvements. And Ken And we also have Danny.
Danny Dingman, I'd like to introduce. She's a representative of the Covington Park neighborhood. And we've got a location map of Braden Park on the PowerPoint here, so if you want to come on up here and I'll kind of help you out.
Okay. Are we going through your PowerPoint?
Yes. Go ahead and take that PowerPoint off.
This will reduce gang
It thinks a lot. doesn't it?
Yes.
Rough neighborhood.
Mhm.
It's rough neighborhood.
Well, it's through the HDMI, but it goes through that box. They call it the input box. And it is grainy.
Danny, are you representing the HOA?
This is also a Master Gardener project for me.
Okay.
That's how it started.
Okay.
But I do happen to live there, so, yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
I bet you've got kids too.
I have 2 little kids, yes.
And if you're not familiar with Braden Park, it's really a great example of a little neighborhood park. Very well situated. I know between our department and I don't know what you guys actually do out there, but it stays in excellent condition, very well maintained. Should we go back to this is the input, right?
Yeah, Covington Park is kind of one of the first parks that we received, that it's a teardrop, it's in the middle of the subdivision, so the park is in the
That's what
total
it was.
middle of it with the road going around it. So we take a lot of pride in it. I think it's worked really well for the neighborhood. I've always heard.
Are you in Covington Park?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I work the park.
She's our parks director.
Oh.
But we've had, last year, we had another partnership with Braden Park and Covington Park neighborhood with the entry to the park. And you might want to explain that, what was taken out and what was put back in place.
Essentially, there was nothing there. It was just a sign that said Braden Park. And so we paid for having a landscaper come in, and they did a really nice job putting in native plants. And actually, I need to put some sort of water thing in there, but we're hoping it'll be a monarch way station. So it's a neat little project that we worked on, and it's irrigated, and
It looks good.
It looks really good. Yeah.
Great partnership between the HOA and the city. Wish we could see more of this in more locations around town. And I do apologize for the technical difficulties here.
Is there anything on there that's not in our?
No, really just the location map. I think that's the only other one I added that's not in there.
Okay.
So if you just wanted to take a look at what we've got there.
Just FYI, the HOA is the case for the water bill for the landscaping. They've been a great partner.
And it's maintained by our private landscaper. We pay for that too.
Okay, so the board has the packet here that has all of this information. And if you look at the first page, this is what the HOA is proposing that is installed. This is a small modular unit with double slide and some additional play features on it. And they have also requested a swing set. This would be a 2-bay swing set. The modular unit would go into an existing play area that's already there. The swing set would be a new play area. This would also involve about 100 feet of concrete curb and then the impact zone beneath the play equipment. So well, let me move on to an additional one. The next page shows the modular piece. And then the next page, which is a little blurry, but I want to just show that to illustrate the layout of all of the play equipment. If you'll see the two areas at the top of that page, the one to your right is, there is an existing piece of climbing equipment there, and we would be taking that out and replacing that with this modular play structure. The climbing piece you might speak toward the climbing piece and the fact that it's just not utilized.
Right, so the current piece that is in there is aesthetically, it's beautiful, it's sort of abstract art, but it's not getting used by kids. In fact, it doesn't feel safe when we see kids actually using it. There's a piece that actually moves that I think would either need to be repaired if it stayed there, or, but just bottom line, there was no way to make it usable. And so that's why we wanted to put something in that would be more age appropriate, and something a little safer, and something that would get families in the park.
And we haven't determined what would become of that existing piece of equipment, but we feel like it could be utilized elsewhere. If nothing else, it could be sold on GeoGov for a little bit. There is another existing play structure on impact area that would remain. It would not change. It's more of a younger climbing structure. And then right across the walkway, the sidewalk from it, is where the new swing set would go. And that shows the additional area that would be necessary. Moving on, the next page is a submittal by Game Time Equipment, just indicating the image on the left indicates that the modular piece would fit within that existing impact zone and have the necessary clearances.
It was designed specifically for the space,
For
to
that
make
space.
sure that it met every code that needed to be met.
And then the one to the right shows the impact area that would be necessary, minimum impact area that would be necessary for the swing set. And a couple of quick pages. This is a proposal budget for the play equipment itself. The next page would be...
That was an older...
Yeah, that was an older. I don't think I included that. The next page would be the responsibility of the city. Now, this is a lump sum dollar, so this would not be all dollars. We feel like much of this could be accomplished with force account labor. And then the final page had it on the PowerPoint, but it may not have been included in your packet, was a letter of commitment from the HOA stating that they agreed to this proposal. Let's see, there was one more. The commitment for the city and the Homeowners Association, I don't have that in front of me, but that outlines the different responsibilities. The city would be responsible for doing the 100 feet of concrete curb. Thank you. And removal of the existing play equipment. I've got on here removal of a large boulder that is currently in that existing play impact area, but it's actually over in a corner where it may be able to remain and not impact into that clear zone around the play equipment. So it's possible it could stay there. It's possible it may have to be moved. We'll just kind of have to play that one by ear.
And we had talked about leaving it in the park somewhere, so
Oh, yeah.
it wouldn't have to be taken anywhere.
There are several existing climbing boulders there, and they do get utilized.
More than the equipment, in fact.
Okay, so installation of the concrete containment curb, installation of a 2-inch gravel subbase for drainage that's beneath the engineered wood fiber impact surfacing, which would also be the responsibility of the city. So basically, in terms of budget, and Byron, correct me if you need to, But in terms of budget, it looks like we would be purchasing the engineered wood fiber, which is $1,250. Installation of the concrete curb, which is $3,000. And then purchase of the 2-inch gravel subbase, which this budget has it at $775. So even though the total budget says $69.90 for this, really, it looks like the cash outlay would be about $5,000. And the HOA's commitment would be the purchase and installation of that modular play structure and the swing set. And as part of the swing set would be mats beneath the swing set, 2 tot swings and 2 adult belt swings. Is that correct? Okay. And Danny also mentioned, this is not part of this proposal, but she mentioned that HOA is considering also the purchase of a bench and a picnic table to go in there as well. Anything else? Any questions?
So is that one rock that's there that's looking like it may be in, would it just be moved, or is it going to be removed?
Well, if it's moved, it would be removed from the impact zone, from within that concrete curb, if it intrudes into that 6-foot free zone around the play structure. But if it doesn't intrude into that space, then they'd like it to stay where it is.
Okay. Can it, if not, can it just be moved a little bit?
Mhm.
Possibly so.
Okay.
So there's 3 invoices in here,
Yeah.
or proposals. Is one-
Okay, so the one that's for 22, that's an older one. I'm sorry, I thought I had left that one out of your
The
package.
one that for RJR, this is
Mhm.
22?
Yes.
Okay, so the only thing that should be in here is the one from Cunningham.
Yes.
It's 21,000.
That's correct.
And then the one from RJR that's 69.
That's right.
Okay.
So what we're basically looking from Park Board approval is for them to donate this equipment and also for, I guess, Parks and Recreation. You all's recommendation for us, we do have some parkland dedication funds in the Northeast Park District that have been unrecognized, that seem to have recently came in since we had budgeted that would be available for this. And staff is recommending that we put that towards this playground, so we can get a $22,000 piece of equipment for, and us put in $5,000 to help do that.
Mhm.
We believe it's a great partnership with the HOA, and appreciate them helping out.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We like it when we get free additions to the park. I motion that we approve as recommended for the HOA to provide the structure and for the city to provide the substrate to finish out the project as described.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right. Thank you, Danny. Ken? Okay, I think we're on number 8 now. All right. Regional Park update.
Just quick update, the sport lights are up out at the park. If you guys go by there, it really looks like a park. Even if you don't go by there and just go down the highway, you can see them now. So all those are up. The contractors are out there working now on finished grading the slopes outside of the ball field areas. Once they got the sports lights up, that was kind of the final thing that they had to do that would disrupt some of those green areas. So now they can go in there, fine tune all that, get ready for sod. They're also working on street tree installation, little bits of curb and gutter still to connect in, stormwater. Buildings are coming along pretty well. They're putting the HVAC systems in, roofing's going up. Let's see what else. Doors and frames will be going in soon. Let's see, the electrical is pretty much in place. Ozarks Electric is on board the next couple weeks to provide the main power out there. So it's moving along. Take any questions if you have them. Or if you want a tour, always happy to take y'all out there.
It looks great. I've been able to go out there a couple times, and you can see a lot of it, you know, from the overlooks on the trail.
Yep.
If you pay attention. So we're still looking at what date for
This fall, August.
August?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Still on schedule.
Good.
Okay. I will say that the temporary trail from the trailhead going up to the water towers might need a little bit of attention. There's one or two of those little creek crossings that are kind of muddy, and I don't know if the city did it or if some other group did it, but stacking some rocks up to walk across to keep your shoes dry. Some of those I think have just kind of moved a little bit with a little higher water after all that rain we had. But overall, I think it's pretty good. In your leisure time,
Yes.
if somebody could go to them. Or if we have a volunteer group contact you for anything that needs attention, that might be a good place to send them.
Noted.
All right, that's it on the update.
Yes.
Next we have Kessler Master Plan update.
Well, just a reminder, we did include the draft master plan in your packet. Next Tuesday night, the 12th, we have a public meeting, special Parks Board meeting is scheduled, 5:30 upstairs in room 219. We've been trying to promote that to citywide. We've seen published on Fayetteville Flyer so far. It's been picked up by a couple of television stations. We're hoping to get it into the Democrat Gazette this week. We will be posting flyers at the trailhead and a couple of the other critical trailheads, just little posters that will inform anybody who's out on the trails that this meeting is coming up. And if there are any other ideas for getting the word out, then please just let us know. But that will be when the board hears public comment about the plan. So I would encourage you to go through the plan prior to that and become as familiar with it as you can. If you have any questions at any point during your review, feel free to give me a call, and I'll answer what I can, work through what I can. But at that meeting, then that's when the board will officially hear the presentation of the plan and any public comment regarding it. So that will be either the time for official adoption or tabling until then.
So we can choose to adopt it that day, or...
Yes, and if you adopt it, then we will immediately, on the 15th, which is that following Friday, is the deadline for submission to go before City Council. And that date, that council date, would be May the 3rd. So if you adopt it at next week's meeting, then it will be reviewed before the council on May the 3rd. If not, then it would be tabled until a later date, and council would have to review it later.
Okay.
Do we have a format for the special meeting as far as public comment goes and how we're going to do all that?
Well, we felt
Not
like...
yet. We'll have a formal presentation of the plan to you guys if
Okay.
you haven't seen it yet. And then Richie, as the chair, will open that up to public comment, and then you guys will discuss. If you're here.
Say again?
If you're here, I'm assuming
I
you'll
don't
be there.
expect it's gonna be as, just as, botanical garden or anything like that. I don't think that,
And that
I
meeting
think
will
there's
also
a
be in
lot
the
of
council chambers,
agreement
actually.
within the plan.
Excuse me?
That meeting will be in 219. So
Yeah,
it'll be a little bit
say the date and the
different
time again.
Mhm. It's next Tuesday, the 12th, 5:30 PM, in room 219, in the City Council chambers.
And it's done, construction,
Mhm.
it's ready to go. Okay,
Is everybody gonna be there?
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
I would like to encourage, and I know Ken's already said this earlier, but, you know, several of us were involved in the stakeholders meetings, and so we know quite a lot about it, but for those of us that were not, I would really encourage you to look at every page and try to understand it. And if you have questions about the proposal, I wouldn't wait until the meetings to try and clear some of those things up. I hate to flood your inbox.
No, that's fine.
But we've all got Ken's email and everybody else involved's email address, and I would try to get those, if you just need clarification on an item, or you need to ask, why was this done this way, there's nothing wrong with sending the staff an email and asking that question, so that you're as formed as you can be when you walk in there. Because, as you can tell, the package is pretty long, and depending on how much public input we have, we don't want it to turn into a long meeting because we still need clarification. If it's going to be a long meeting, it needs to be because of issues we're trying to make decisions on, not just for clarification stuff. So I would encourage that. And if you hadn't been up there, get up there.
You're missing out.
Just to clarify again, that meeting is when and what time?
Tuesday, next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, the 12th.
5:30.
5:30. We've got, I think we've set aside 5:30 to 7:30 for the meeting.
And with the city council chambers, so it's really nice.
At the chamber offices?
Y'all will get to sit. with-
No, it's here.
It's here, okay.
Yeah.
City Council.
Yeah, you'll be sitting with the board, so people will be coming to present their thoughts to the Parks Board.
Yeah.
It'll work well.
So just the feel will be a much more formal setting.
Supposed to dress up? I always dress up.
Well, they can only see you from the waist up.
Like a news reporter.
Yeah.
Shorts, right.
All right, any questions for Ken at this time? All right, thank you. I think we hit everything 1 through 9 on the agenda, didn't we? Except for apple seeds, which will be next month. So, we have other business.
The
Yes.
only other thing that I had scheduled our city attorney, Kit Williams, to come to talk to you about the parkland dedication ordinance and their ramifications of the law and everything else. So he'll be able to answer any questions that you all might have on the parkland dedication ordinance.
Okay.
When is that? Next?
In May.
Okay.
In May, okay. All right. If there's no other business, we're going on to announcements. April 4th, registration begins for summer camp. April 16th, spring soccer and first touch ends. April 18th, registration begins for summer adult softball. And then I guess the announcement about the meeting next Tuesday. April 12th. Any other announcements? Miss anything?
Get the word out.
Okay.
You know, we want people to be there, their opportunities to help us.
All right, well, we'll be adjourned. See you all on Tuesday.